I'm Nails from All Season.
Hey, this is Matt from All Season.
Hi, this is Dermot from All Season.
And you're listening to What's Metal.
So, obviously, our listeners are not really familiar with your band. I mean, we played a few songs already. As far as I know, All Season started out as a band under a different name. So there seems to be some kind of history behind that band already. So, can you briefly sum that up, Nails?
Right, well, first off, we started as Tyrannis, and it was just me and him. Then we turned into Karnayna. Me and him, as in Philip. Yeah. Then we moved on and we turned into Karnayna. And Dermot came along when we were Karnayna. And then Anto came along, still as we were Karnayna. And when Frank and Jim came, we changed the name then to All Season.
Okay. So, I mean, was the old material so shitty that you have to change the name? Or why did you stay with the old name?
It kind of had a similar sound to other bands as well, that the actual name of the band, Karnayna, and there was also, it was a kind of, we were going into a different type of music than what we previously had played, you know. It was more, what could you say, black metal-y before, more of a...
More extreme sound.
More of an extreme sound, more raw, kind of, and there was a different type of singing. We have clear singing now, so it was different back then, and the music was, we played faster paced riffs and things like that, but we kind of slowed things down a little bit and made more room for the melody in the music, with more members coming into the band. It changes the way you write the music, because you have to adapt to that and make room for the different kind of melodies to work together, you know. Yeah. So
do there exist any official recordings from that time then?
We have an old tape, of the Karnayna first tape. What was it?
There's a Karnayna demo.
Yeah.
There's a Karnayna demo. There's an official demo. There was a couple of kind of, rehearsal demos, and the same before that with Tyrannis. But there was only one kind of proper Karnayna demo.
Yeah. Okay. So, Dermot, when you came in the band and added basically the keyboards, I think that Nails once told me that you took some of the old songs and somehow transformed them into All Season songs. At least some songs that you're now playing are already several years old. At the time that you joined, were they still these kind of black metal songs? And how did they transform into this more like doom metal?
I didn't think it was very black metal orientated from the beginning. I really didn't. Yeah. There's a few songs in there, but I mean the other one, Of Battles, that we used to play, that had a Celtic thing going on as well.
Very heavy metal kind of.
It did, yeah. So I think when the keys came in and added into it, I don't necessarily think it changed the style of it. It's that we kind of clicked with regard to fitting the keys into it. And then when Jimmy came along again, like later on, it allowed you certainly, Mats, to
play more lead.
Exactly, play more lead. Let him fill it out. Yeah. And Jimmy does his own thing, and he does, and he does it very well. Yeah. But there's a lot going on in All Season. The drums are doing their own thing all the time. The keys are doing... Well, it's Mats that generally is the songwriter in the band. He'll structure the songs generally.
Okay, so next point on my list, basically live shows. So the Dublin crowd is in a very nice position, because Dublin people can see you nearly every 2 weeks playing somewhere, mostly in the Voodoo Lounge, which would be your house club or whatever. I don't know if you live there already, to some extent. I don't know. But what about the situation in general? I mean, recently you played a show with Obituary, which is quite unusual for your kind of music.
Yeah, certainly strange for us to play with Obituary, but Samael was on the bill as well, so there was already a bit of variation, and I think us coming in to open it up added good variation between the three bands, and obviously they're two pretty good bands to say that we've played with as well, you know.
Yeah, it lets one crowd listen to another type of music that they, wouldn't normally go and see as well, you know.
Like, let's face it, it was a great gig.
There would be some fans of like Obituary coming up, and they wouldn't always come to the small band gigs or anything like that, and then if they hear us as well, it's an added bonus.
And it
and it works for St Mail as well, like,
Yeah.
I'm sure, you know, like, and vice versa between St Mail and Obituary, you know. The people there to see St Mail probably don't really know Obituary, kind of older stuff or whatever, will probably buy a few Obituary albums if they like them, you know, so it works for both bands, you know, so.
Yeah, you also played a show in Greece, which is kind of strange. I mean, where's the connection to Greece?
Well, Greeks seem to have a special affinity towards the type of metal we play, so we got in contact with some Greeks last year from when we played with Brock's Helm, and we just kept in touch, and then we got the chance to go and play with Battle Roar it was their first gig in Athens for when their new CD came out, so we kind of played with special guests with them, and it went really well for us.
Yeah. Regarding releases, you have one full-length album out now that you basically released on your own in a digipack version. Really nice thing. Maybe give us all the necessary details about that.
Well, yeah, the digipack is out now. It's almost sold out, so if you want it, you want to get it soon. But we're going to do a repress, so hopefully we'll have that in the next month or so.
Yeah.
Hopefully we do add in something extra with that maybe as well.
Yeah. Do you have any official distributors for that, or?
Well, we're talking to a few at the moment, so hopefully we'll be able to get it into a good few shops anyway.
Yeah. So when I remember that correctly, on the backside of the CD, it's basically printed that the CD is released by Elderwood Records.
Yeah.
That's basically you, or who is it?
Well, that's the label run by myself. All Season obviously is the first release, but we're hoping to do a few more releases in the future.
Irish bands?
Well, not necessarily Irish bands, but at the moment there's a couple of Irish bands we're hoping to work with.
Yeah. And where did you do the recordings for that album?
We recorded the drums and the vocals in a place outside Kells. What's the name of it? Jam Studios. Basically a converted garage, but a really nice setup. Yeah, man, and the guys knew what they were at up there. The recording was done on one day of the drums, when myself and Matt's travelled up on the same day, and Nails came up as well, and we all just jammed along, and Anto recorded the drums. Then we took that back, and we back to basically my place, and we just camped in our sitting room for about 6 months and recorded drums, or recorded bass and guitars and keys on top of that. Then we brought it back to the studio, back into Kells, and Frank put his vocals on top of it.
So the vocals are basically the point where people say that they could have been better recorded for some reason. So it sounds a little bit like Frank would be singing in a shower.
What happened there was when we went back to the studio, we recorded the vocals, just recorded Frank singing as opposed to recording them to the music, and we didn't have the experience ourselves to be able to do it properly. Now we did as good a job as we could, but hopefully we'll be able to do it better in the future.
Yeah.
Well, we got it recorded in the studio. We kind of asked them for a flat EQ because we figured we'd have time enough to just basically mess around with the vocals later on and put effects on them and do what we wanted with them. We wanted a true. We figured in our naivety, I don't know, that a flat EQ, you could take that and you could do whatever you wanted with it to fit in with the music. But I certainly didn't, and I don't think, had the experience to be able to put the body and depth into the vocal sound that needs to sit on the music. It seems to sit above the music somewhere, and I think it doesn't give justice to what Frank can sing live. Yeah. It really doesn't.
Yeah, our listeners may remember Frank because we had him in an interview beforehand already that he did for Morning Beloveds, where he's also singing and playing guitar. So with his position in All Season, does he really appreciate to be more like the typical like metal frontman who can do the typical metal singing and play with the audience? Yeah?
It's a different thing for him. He looks at it in a completely different way than he would if he was playing with Morning Beloved, because I suppose it's the different type of music as well. We're not exactly the same or anything, but I suppose he has that freedom as well, and he enjoys that as well. So he certainly does, yes.
our show is called What's Metal. So what do you guys think is metal?
I wish it was a country. We could all just go there, you know.
Yeah, we were there last December. Greece.
Greece is metal.
Really?
It really is.
It really is.
Oh, it's unbelievable.